floor.
Okay.
Okay, so everyone, this is, okay. I wanted to get your title right because I love it so much. This is Darcy from Above the Tree Line, and her title is Publisher Success Manager. And I already went through a training session with her, and she's wonderful. And so she kind of knows it's a mixed group of people in the room, that we all have kind of different roles here. It's not just sales reps, that we're looking at it from a marketing angle, higher management angle. And so she's going to kind of touch on all the different aspects of Edelweiss Analytics and Edelweiss 360. We're going to mute and let her just do a presentation, and then at the end we can have questions, so jot down anything that you want to follow up on. And there's going to be a video and some stuff that we can share after this as well. And she's also recording this session, so we'll have it for, because I know some of the remote reps are on right now, but not all of them could make it. So I'm going to go ahead, and just to let you all know in the room, I think everyone in this room I have given access to an Edelweiss. So after this, if you've never touched it before, we can talk about it. I've given you different access, so you have access to the analytics and 360 and all the stuff we're talking about today. All right, over to you, Darcy.
Okay, thank you so much, Courtney. And as Courtney mentioned, yes, my title is Publisher Success Manager, which my family likes to make a lot of fun of me for. But just because you mentioned that some people might be totally new to Edelweiss, I can also share with you this catalog admin training page. We have one for catalog admins and also for sales reps. And when you're completely new to Edelweiss, you can start right here and either watch a short video or read up on a couple of documents. And that helps to just get you acclimated if you've never been on before. But today I'm actually, and also to follow up, I'll have three videos total to share with you. So the analytics video that I have shared, the 360 video I have shared with Courtney, and then there will be an analytics video ready to roll. I think I'll be able to send that off tomorrow. I'm just waiting for my a couple people who are who are very invested because they were the developers of analytics. I just want them to sign off on it before I send it your way. So with that, let's go ahead and start. So we're going to talk about 360, and then we'll talk about analytics, and then I'll leave some time at the end for questions. So Edelweiss 360 came about for a couple of different reasons. One, we were getting requests over and over from publishers asking us, how is my stuff doing? How are my titles doing? I loaded this review copy. Is anybody looking at it? How can I get them to submit a review? Or what about orders on a title? So people just wanted to know how, I did this work on Edelweiss. Does it matter? And then the second question that we get a lot is, how can I connect with indie buyers or maybe with even libraries? How can I get more people in my account list and reach out to more people in the book industry so that my title does start to do a little bit better? So think about Edelweiss 360 as being, we named it that. At first we were starting with the CRM module and things that people already have. And then we changed the name to 360 because it's a panoramic view of all of the activity that surrounds your titles and your catalogs. And there is this reporting tool. So it's a way to monitor and track this activity, that piece that was asked for. And then it's also a prospecting tool to identify and connect with influencers and hopefully buyers. And then also just kind of a third level, 360 does allow you all to kind of get the same kinds of information, but then look at it from your own angle and then communicate within or between the different departments. Each role, each person's going to have a slightly different take, a slightly different focus, maybe looking at 360 in a slightly different way, but then it gives you an ability to all communicate and see the same kind of data together. So without further ado, I will launch into 360, but I'll let you know that you can get there a number of different ways. So let's say that you're in a catalog and you want to access 360. You can just click this little 360 button. If you're in a particular title, you can also, or sorry, that was from the title view, but if you're in your publisher page, sorry, I should have started here in your publisher page. Within here, you can click any of these catalogs, just click the 360 and it takes you right there. I'll also take a moment to mention that if you have collections, reps often make specific collections. You can get there in the same kind of way, just finding this 360 icon. Back to our homepage, I was here in the Chronicle 2018 Omnibus, and you can, as I mentioned, get to 360 through a title. You'll just see it up here in the title bar. You can even get to 360 through your people page. So you can find it through an individual and find 360 here. So I'll go to Joe's page for a second. Here's Joe Foster. He's just a contact. I should mention now, I should have said this first. Right now, I'm just logged in as a Chronicle admin. So I'm just looking at your data. And in this Chronicle admin account, I happen to have added Joe Foster. He's one of my colleagues. So here's Joe, and you saw how I got to 360 next to his name, and then I can go to his account and also get to 360 here. So I can even come this way and get to an account. So the reason I bring this up is because now I'll kind of click back to home, but I bring this up because since 360 is this panoramic view, we want to allow you all to have access to it on the fly when you're working. So within your own workflow, whenever you need to just pop in and check something out, you're able to do that. Most people will probably start off by going to the Edelweiss 360 Center. So that's up in this upper left-hand corner. And when you get to the 360 Center, you're going to see some tracked activity once you start tracking things, and you can track titles, catalogs, people, and accounts. And you'll also see a recently viewed by. And you'll see up to the minute activity in both of these different lanes, and I'll talk about it more in a minute. You can also kind of see what you have tracked. And in this case, this is me just going in as an admin and getting some information going there. You can take a look at your tags. I haven't made any yet. You can take a look at your different contacts. A rep obviously would have lots of contacts. In my case, I only have 6 right now. Authors is a feature of 360 that is coming soon. We're actually going to give authors an ability, if the publisher grants it, access to see a little bit of information about their titles. We hear from authors almost every day who want to kind of be part of Edelweiss and part of the conversation. Also, communities. Some of you may have noticed that we just launched communities. So this is something new for us, and it's going to be a place to connect with people who are kind of interested in the same genre or the same types of readers. And so this will be a lot more robust in the very near future. You can also just search by catalog, account, title, or user. So you can just do a simple search by typing into a search bar. The only number, so just to let you all know too, 360 is still in beta testing. We're getting closer and closer to having it be finished and for sale. When it is for sale, one part of it is going to be free. So if you have a publisher subscription with us, the reporting part of 360 will be your information. You deserve that. So it's already part of your catalog subscription. The prospecting part is going to be an additional price. And we can talk about that more at the end and how that would impact you guys. But I've already worked with Courtney on some of this because we're bundling analytics and 360 together. Anyway, table that for the people who it's relevant for later. but I brought that up because the only number here that's a little off that isn't feeding correctly is this catalog number, 1467. You probably don't have that many catalogs. But these other numbers are right. So there are 93,000 plus accounts in Edelweiss. And when I say accounts, that's by bookstore or by organization like NPR or by a library. This 14,000 plus titles, that is an accurate number of your titles. And then the 135,000 plus users are individuals. A lot of these users are going to be part of an account, but some of them are standalone users like bloggers. So all of this information is you can rely on it. Now, let's go back. I'm just going to, okay, so instead of going, right now I could start to type in a catalog, but I'm going to go back to recently viewed. And I actually was just taking a look before we jumped on the call at, here we go, your Chronicle 2019. I think this is the one that I was looking at. We'll start here. So another thing, and you'll find this on your own, and I'm already looking at the clock and finding I better start talking faster. It's really easy to kind of get clicky in 360 and just start jumping from place to place to place to place and checking it out. So I invite you to do that and have a lot of fun with it, and just, you're not going to break anything by clicking. I'm going to start clicking just a little bit faster. I'm going to start from the catalog level, go to some titles, and then show you at least a little bit of individuals and accounts. So a summary, when you first open a catalog, it's going to kind of tell you how many people have viewed the catalog, and then of those people, are they in your contact list? This is super important. So in this case, 190 people have, and by the way, you can hover over these things and they're little descriptions. So 84% of the people, which is 91 total, are not on anyone's contact list. So that's something that you're going to want to tap into and find out who are these people who viewed the catalog who are not yet on a list. And then you can also see by user type, when they viewed it, and just the general overall activity of what's been going on. Also, if you make a note within house, so let's say that there are some things that you want sales reps to know, you can type in updated information on a certain title, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to cancel that, but you can make it visible and it would just be within Chronicle. You can also see your benchmarks. So this catalog is ranked 41 out of over 1,000 catalogs that have been posted, and that's within 1 month, right before or after the date that it was added. And other catalogs that you posted in this same month are, yeah, your current, it's, oh yeah, you did your complete backlist and then your front list. And this other catalog has been viewed by 318 people and ranks 28. So, and then let's go ahead and move on. We can go to viewers, and I'm just going to gloss over this for a minute because we'll come back to it. This is where you can, however, start to see people who have a little hyphen, a little dash here. Those are people who are not in anyone's contact list yet. So you could sort by bookseller, by blogger, by writer, or view dates. You can sort however you wish and kind of, again, click around and start maybe contacting some of these people and getting them in your contact lists. We can also see from this catalog the titles that have been loaded and also the shares. So how many catalogs, or sorry, how many markups have been shared of this catalog. I'm actually going to go back. I want to be in a different catalog that's going to be a little more relevant for you guys. I tracked some of these things. I think, oh yeah, this is the one that I was looking at earlier. This, I think, is going to give you a little bit more relevant information. Okay, So this is still a front list catalog. And I know, like, if you look at some of your other ones, you're going to find numbers that are even higher if it's not a front list catalog. You can see, again, kind of the basic information. In this case, you've got 307 viewers, you have 186 titles, and I wanted to go into this one because you have 198 shares, which is great. That means the reps are doing their jobs and getting this catalog to the people who are going to be buyers. You can kind of hover over these little eyes. That means that somebody has viewed the catalog. So the catalog's been shared and it's also been viewed. Let's, instead of focusing on individuals, let me go to titles for a moment. So from the title view, we're still in the catalog, but just looking at all of the titles within the catalog, you can arrange the view from downloads. So I know you guys in this case don't have a lot of review copies yet. Maybe you will, but this is what that lane is, that column. And then some, you can sort by notes, you can sort by tags, and you can sort by shelves. So this is, what this means is people, some of these people who have viewed the catalog, they have written their own notes or tags or put the book on a shelf, or they've written a review. And as you scroll over, you can also see how the book has fared, how many titles have been ordered, and you can do a descending or ascending order. So let's see, this top 3 Cheers book, 210 organizations have ordered it, and a total of 1,300 units. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense. I'm going to go back to 360 Central for a minute. Let's go into a title now. So I could have really easily just clicked a title from that list, but earlier today I just picked this title somewhat randomly. I think because it had some reviews and I wanted to show you guys this connection. When you go into a title, you can do the same kind of thing. You can look at the summary, and get some data going. Market info is something that's coming soon. This is again why 360 is still in beta. This part is not quite finished, but we have the data through analytics, and it's a matter of just kind of integrating it into 360. And again, you can always see notes. So again, your reps can kind of share personal information, or publicity people, editorial staff can write some notes on Hungry Jim to make sure that the sales staff knows. And then you can also see reviews. So in this case, you can take a person like, let's take Hannah from Avid Bookshop. You can hover over her little stick figure and see what her job is there. Is she a person who is in charge of buying? That's the kind of thing you can find out, or you can open up and see more information about Hannah, get a bigger picture. But staying within Hungry Jim, you can see what rating she's given it, and you can hover over the review, or you can click it. And when you click it, it brings it completely up, and you can see what Hannah had to say about this title. And then you can also see that Hannah is in somebody's contact list. And actually at this moment, I will go back into Hannah's account so you can see she's in the list of Teresa. And she's also in 27 other publishing houses' contact lists. So she's somebody you definitely want to make sure that you're in communication with, because she's an influencer. Going down, you can also see who has put this title on a shelf. And if you forget what these little icons are, you can just hover over them and find out. If you've got somebody who has this book as a favorite, so Heidi in this case from Daedalus Books, but she's not on anyone's contact list, that's a person you might want to make sure that you put on a list. And I'll show you now how to do that. You can just hover over this little envelope and click it and send a message to Heidi. This will actually come in her notification widget, and we also now have batch notification emails. So Heidi will also get an email if you just write a message in here and send. And the message can be as simple as, hey, Heidi, I noticed that this is your favorite book. We'd love to add you to our contacts. Can I have your permission to do that? You can also see if the book has a review copy. You can see if it's been downloaded. And then this is one of the really important parts, these targets. So when I click into targets, you've got 285 individuals who are targets in your audience. 58% of them, or 164, are booksellers. And then you've got 26% who are librarians. And they're the way that the default is set, they're loaded by how many matches. So a target is somebody who hasn't yet interacted with Hungry Jim, but has interacted with 6 of the comps. So based on 17 comps total, Sarah at Left Bank Books has interacted with 6 different titles. This is what they are. So if you think that she would be a good candidate to read Hungry Jim or to buy Hungry Jim or sell Hungry Jim to people who come into her store, you can go ahead and again send a message to her, or you can see, all right, great, she's already on 4 of our contact lists. Let's make sure that we reach out to her and get this book on her radar. Okay, so I know this is a ton of information, and you can kind of see how quickly you can start clicking from thing to thing to thing. Let me also just go to Seth for just a second. So if you want to see more about a person, I mentioned I'd linger for a moment on how to add people in accounts. This is where that prospecting, you can really start to take a deep dive into finding influencers and getting people on your contact lists. In this case, Seth is already on some lists, but he's clearly an important person, especially for children's books. So you can also see what markups have been shared with him. You can see.
Darcy?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You just cut out, so sorry, you're back.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. All right. I'm going to try to move. Whenever I go into 360, I find myself just getting kind of down the rabbit hole. But I just want you guys to kind of see how you can go into all of these different areas. I'm going to go back now and just kind of backtrack. I did want to show you, there's one title that you had as a review copy, and just kind of show you how when you do have review copies, this graph, when you're looking at a summary of a title, you can begin to see how there might be a download and a review and then maybe an increased order. Now, it doesn't always work out perfectly like that, but you can tell, did this review copy make a difference? Did it have an impact? So just making a connection with that too. And yeah, there of course is more to talk about. There are more examples of things that I tracked and thought I'd say, but I'm pretty sure I covered enough to get you started, and we're already getting almost to the halfway point. So I want to make sure that I jump over to analytics. So if it's okay with all of you, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to exit out of 360. And all right, so for analytics, one of the reasons that we're kind of packaging 360 and analytics together is we're looking at it as you could sort of see where 360, you've got a lot of names of people, accounts, books, the reviews of books. You've got a lot of words in there, a lot of storytelling. So I jokingly talk at Above the Tree Line, just so you know, lots of developers are here, lots of people who work kind of, in my opinion, very abstractly with numbers and data points and, things that don't make as much sense to me. I'm a little bit more of the story person. So Edelweiss 360, I'm a lot more comfortable in that tool. then, and some people are going to be more comfortable in it in an analytics tool. So what we've done is we're packaging these two things together so that you kind of get this big overall picture. If you are a person who likes to look at the names, the accounts, and by the way, I didn't even get into reviewing groups like New York Times and PR. Those people can be found on 360 as well, and you can message them. So there's a lot of opportunity there to kind of get these books and your titles and your stories in the hands of people who are telling the stories about books. Analytics, on the other hand, is really a record and a lot of numbers that describe how your title is doing, particularly in indie markets. So we're not talking about Amazon or gift stores so much, but we're talking about the indie market, and we're talking about your particular accounts. When you think of analytics, you should definitely think of it as being descriptive rather than prescriptive. So we like to say that analytics gives you an idea, it kind of gives you an offering of how that title is doing, and it's up to you to decide, can it do better? Is it time to pull it and exchange it for some other titles that might sell more copies? And anyway, let me get into that nitty gritty, and it will make more sense. Just like 360 and you being able to get into 360 in different views, in different ways, you can also get to analytics in different ways. So let me just go first to, I'm just going to pull up, this is your 2018 Omnibus catalog. And I'm just going to go right into this presentation mode of this particular title. So this is just the first title in this catalog, and I'm going to go to the presentation mode. And there are two areas here. So this is really handy for reps particularly. Reps can see their point of sale data. Let me also say, analytics is title specific, and then it's also store specific. So in this particular case, I had Literati, which is right down the street from me. I had Literati chosen, but you are more than welcome to choose a different store. We have over 480 stores that that send us their data. So our numbers that we're showing reflect data from 480 indie stores. So here I am in Literati, and I can go to the point of sale data, and I can see how many copies of Now and Again Literati has on hand, on order, the lifetime sales, and last year sales. And then you can even look at this little graph of sales versus inventory. So that's a really quick and dirty way if you're just going through a catalog, or you know that you're going to visit a certain store. You can go into that store ahead of the sales call and make a nice quick analysis of how a title's doing and whether or not they need more copies. You can also go to cross-store data and find out a little bit more information. Again, this is from the presentation mode of this particular title. You can choose a market. Right now it's in indie booksellers, but you can also choose Christian booksellers, public libraries. You can even go by region. Oops, didn't mean to scroll that far. And then you can choose time frame. Right now I have 6 months back. Current month, this is a little bit tricky until you understand it. Current month is just the month of, in our case, July. So it would only be the last 2 weeks. So if you're at the very beginning of the month, 2 months back is a really good place to start. For the presentation today, I just had it set to 6 months back. And then this just gives you some general peer data. This book has sold in 20% of stores in the last 6 months, on hand in 35% of those 480 stores, and on order in 2%. I could choose just my accounts only. So again, if I'm a rep, I'm probably only going to care about my accounts. And in fact, most reps, the publisher admins choose to only grant access to particular accounts for each rep. They don't give the all store access. You're welcome to give all store access, but that can be overwhelming for reps. So generally speaking, a rep is only going to see my accounts only. And you can also select out of stock stores only if you wanted to do that. You can show however many titles in this list you can show 100, 500, or go up to 1,000. We have it set for 100 now. And then on hand, on order, and total sales. So all the stores, there are 277 who have this title on hand, 19 have it on order, and then there have been 127 copies of this title that have been sold just in these last 6 months. You can export this really easily to an Excel spreadsheet. You can also decide to, these are all clickable. So when I click twice, it inverts the order. So this is the sales order. If it's on order, I can also choose to select by on order or on hands. I will take a moment just because I noticed this. When you see Northeast, Northeast, South, these are stores that have not yet signed the terms of agreement to share the data with publishers, but we're insisting because it makes sense for them and for publishers. It really makes sense for you to know which store this is. So when you see a generic geographic area, that just means we haven't quite gotten this particular store to send data yet, but you'll notice almost everybody now does. Okay, I'm gonna pop out of here. I'm gonna try to make myself stay on time. So that's how to get to analytics just title by title. You can also get to analytics up here in the display area by clicking this little pie. So this is going to give me the display of analytics just within my catalog. So far you'll notice I haven't gone to the analytics tab. I'm going to wait for just a second for the 630 titles to load. And just while we're waiting for this to load, so when you look at these numbers, you'll notice that sometimes there, you know that there are more more titles in that catalog, and maybe you'll say, sorry, this actually shows the picture now that it loaded. So there's only 82 titles total of the 630 that are in the catalog, and that means in Literati's case, Literati is only interacting with 82 of the total titles in the Chronicle Books Fall 2018 Omnibus catalog. Of course, you can also change the location right from here. I'm going to stick with Literati for a minute. And when you do the analytics view, it shows you how many titles they're interacting with. And then this little pie will show you, in this case, the turns. You have a high turn, 25% of the titles of the 82 titles have a high turn, 2.4%, or 2 of them have a medium turn, and 72% have no sales. You can see what that means down below in the title grid, which I'll get to in just a second. But you could pick a title like, let's take the Sloth's Guide to Mindfulness. You'll notice that as soon as I hovered over this, some information popped up for me. And it also gives me the ability to add or instantly move this title to a collection, to write a review or a rating, add it to a shelf, write a note, create a tag, download it, or I can even hide that title. This little, when you look at the little flames, you can hover over, this means shelf days, and there's a little graph, which I'm going to go into more detail about this in just a second. But basically, this is a number that is a calculation, so it's a formula that is going to show total sales over total inventory. And then there's also a little bit of information about the peers in the indie market. But I want to go right into this title and see a little bit more. So when I look at the analytics view from the catalog, I can pop right back into a title and really quickly get back to the point of sale data or the cross-store data. And this can be, again, kind of quick and efficient for your reps as they're preparing sales calls. So I hope that gives you a little bit of help just in how to get there through a catalog. I'm going to jump back over because, again, I feel like I'm kind of going to run out of time if I don't. Oh, this is our little pop-up about communities. Sorry about that. Remind me later. Now, so analytics, just to kind of recap, you can get access to analytics through the presentation mode in any title as you're going through. You can get to analytics from a catalog, and then you can also get to analytics through the analytics page. So if I just click here on the tab that says analytics, this takes me to the whole analytics view. Right now, I'll point out to you again that I'm still in Literati Bookstore, but I could choose any of the bookstores that I want. And again, your reps are probably going to have just their own accounts. And then people who are in charge of marketing and kind of higher level how our numbers are doing, they would be the ones who would want to see all of the options. On the left-hand side, you can refine your results and you can see things by different categories. I won't go into too much detail about that, other than to say, if you have a personal collection, many people used to call this the watch list in the old analytics. So if any of you used that term or that feature in old analytics, which was called Treeline, now you can refine by a collection really easily, and it shows you just the information from that particular set of books. Just another kind of quick overview. We have it broken into lanes, which are all, you can change the lanes and put it in any order that you wish, but the default is most popular titles, not yet released titles, the stock analysis for the given store, the historical overview, and then the catalog analysis. But again, you can change those orders, the order of those lanes. Another thing that's you can do is switch to look at a family view. So this would be, when you're looking at family view, that's family data. So same author, same title, but different format. Most people, when they're looking at bookstores, they're going to be looking by ISBN. And when they're looking at a library view, they're going to be looking for the family data. So each of these lanes also has a gear, and that's your lane preference. So this is where you would choose your market. You can go to indie booksellers, public libraries. Again, you can choose a different region. You can choose your time frame, the number of titles that you want to look at a given time, and then the shelf days. So the shelf days, this is the formula that's kind of the default. It's the combined number of days all copies of this title have been on the shelf with no activity. So the freshness, it is going to be less than 90 as a shelf day, and then stable's in the middle, and stale is going to be higher than 360 days. You can also change these parameters. So you can choose to put different numbers in here. And we have tons of help documentation on this because I know it's a lot to take in all at once. But another way, you can kind of hover over these little flames and see that shelf days information in a little more detail. Let's go ahead and look at the most popular titles that you guys have across the 200 most popular titles in the indie market, but in relation to Literati. So at Literati, right now they have 7% of your top 200 titles in stock and stable. They have 26% of your titles, your top 200 titles, in stock, and it's fresh or hot. And then you can hover over these to see not in, but on order, not in stock. And then the little blue one is the stale or cool. And then you can also view the titles in a grid. So let me go here for a moment. On the left-hand side of the grid, you're going to see how how each title is doing in the indie trade market in general with those 480 stores that report to us. And then you're going to see the connection to literati. So this will tell you, you can kind of make some decisions, and each rep is going to know literati or know their own accounts the best. But it's also important to kind of get that global view, and maybe you've misjudged, or maybe you need to reassess. Maybe you need to take some books that are stale or cool from this little blue piece of the pie and trade them out for some titles that are not yet in stock that you think would sell there. There's an opportunity for other actions where you can select any of these titles or select them all and add them to a collection, send an email to an account, for example, create a PDF, and so on. You can also choose other actions right by each title where you can maybe add a title to a collection or review it, shelve it, note it, or tag it. I will take a moment to say that a lot of people are using this as an opportunity for their backlist review. So if they notice that a store doesn't have any copies of a title that's doing well in the indie market that's a backlist title, they might pop it into a collection and then create a nice little markup with a dozen or so titles and say, hey, these are some books that are backlist, but other stores are selling well. So you can take a look at these and share that markup and hopefully take an order from them. All right, I'm going to collapse that title grid and just, with a couple of minutes before I take your questions, just kind of go over these. It does become a little bit self-explanatory, and keep in mind that you can always hover over a lot of the headings and a lot of the symbols and icons as you go through analytics, and we try to make it as user-friendly as possible, even though it can be a little bit overwhelming with numbers. Looking at a lot of numbers all at once, at least for me. Let me also say that there's, when you see a zero, this has been confusing for some people, like why, so this lane, stock analysis, there's 0 shelf days for this convivial toolbox. Why is that? That means that literati did engage with this title at some point, so they did have it in stock, and now it's not in stock. So if I went back up to my lane preference and changed the parameters and maybe went 12 months back, that might show me when they last had the convivial toolbox. So you can absolutely change these lane preferences. You can even send an email to yourself or to a colleague. And especially when it's stock analysis, you can kind of keep up to date on how your stores that sell really well, see how they're doing, and kind of give yourself a reminder or give a colleague a reminder. This is how the store is selling our top titles. And you can even make it a subscription so that it comes regularly. You can have it sent to you daily, weekly, monthly. And that email comes for each part of this pie. So it does give you a lot of choices in how to handle your titles and hopefully be able to sell them a little bit better in the stores that you work with. The historical overview, these are just some graphs of some of the same information, and just keep in mind you can scroll all the way across, and this will help, I think, some of your kind of, when you're looking at the books that you've published and as a whole, and how your inventory is doing, how your sales are doing. These graphs can be important for that. And then lastly, you can apply a catalog and just look at one catalog with one store. So this is where you can erase the 2018 Omnibus and maybe add a different catalog, maybe a frontless catalog. Let's see, we can add the Moleskine catalog and just apply that right away. So the analytics, as I kind of wrap up here, it gives you a lot of different views a lot of different information. All of these can be kind of pulled out in that bigger grid form, or collapsed to see a smaller view. You can focus on a single title. You can focus on a catalog. You can focus on your greater inventory. You can kind of create your own smaller collection and apply it to a number of different stores. And then lastly, there's a daily analytics email that you can have as many people in your organization as you want to receive that daily email. I'm just going to refresh this in case it works. I tried to apply this different catalog. We'll see if it loads. But the daily analytics email also gives you information about those daily sales. All right, as that loads, well, hopefully it will load. Let me go ahead and start taking some questions from you all.
Hi, Darcy. Courtney here. Just looping back to the 480 reporting stores, does that include the UK as well? Is that just the US?
That's just US.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I just have one more question. I'm going to pass the mic over to someone else. But back in the 360, you kept talking about tracking, but we didn't see, and that's the paw print, right? That's when you click on the paw, and then you can track a title?
Yes, that's absolutely right. Yes. And I had tracked these. I tried to track a catalog, a title, a person before I got on the phone with you, but then, right, I didn't say that. So like if we went back to Seth, this is the little paw where we could track his activity. It sounds a little weird when you're tracking a person. It's easier to talk about when you're tracking a title. But you can also tag. So if this is like a children's buyer, you can put a tag there for yourself. And then when you're back in that 360 view, you can check out your tracked stuff. If you do create tags, let's say children's buyers, and I clicked that, then you'd see the list of children's buyers. So yeah. And then from this view, you can bump around and see, okay, I've tracked 5 titles, 2 catalogs, a couple organizations, and then communities will be interesting too.
Well, hi. So you may have gone over this, so sorry if you did, but we're really interested in marketing and seeing how our pre-order campaigns impact indies. So is there a place for independent stores to track pre-orders that we could see here?
Yeah, so the thing about pre-orders that can be a little bit tricky is, and I know this in part from answering questions that come through our support room, publishers want to make sure that the on sale date has the highest numbers as possible, and on the given date when it's released, especially for a really hot title. But some stores will process through their cash register, so it will go into their point of sale system. And so there will be some numbers there that look as if the title has sold. So the short answer to this question is that it depends on the point of sale system for the store. So pre-orders can be a little bit tricky, but if you ever have any specific questions about a specific ISBN, we can dig in a little bit further and kind of help you get that information that you're looking for. But in terms of 360, you can. So like a lot of, let's see, if we're looking at a front list, you actually will be able to see here how many titles have been ordered before, whether or not they've gone through a point of sale system. So of the activity in this particular catalog, this is going to give you the total and the average per store. So this will give you that overview on pre-orders. I'm also going to just make a note for myself and make sure that there's no other information I should I'll follow up with you if there's anything else relevant that I can say about that.
Okay. Well, do I have to click? No, it's good. Oh, okay. Just to follow up on that, it looked like when you were looking at single titles and you could see, if you clicked on it, you could see when the orders came in. I think that it would help us so that we can see like when a mailing, for instance, lands, if a store then orders up on a book, to like use those analytics just to make sure that our work is impacting sales.
Oh, yeah,
that's what it looked like when you were just showing one of those grids, but maybe that's not right.
That's absolutely true. So within the, like, just when you click titles, you can sort by the orgs that have ordered. So we can do it this way. So the top, so 211 stores have ordered 3 cheers. And then it goes down from there, or you can invert the order. You can also go by.
Right. So we won't be able to. Yeah. Right. No, but it looked like there had been a grid where you could see when orders were placed, like if there was an increase in, like, let's say May and then June.
Yeah.
Where it would have been before sales was selling in.
Yeah, that's true. Hang on 1 second. Let me get back to.
Like this? Yeah, like that. Those are orders placed through us.
No,
But that's just ordering from us. I want to know if people are go with customers or. I don't think we would do that in Edelweiss. I think we would have. Yeah, we see wholesaler orders. Is she still on, or is it needed?
I'm still here. You know what? It's just.
The sales are through, in general, right? For this ISBN, direct and through wholesaler, or is this number just direct?
Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
The numbers that we see per title, so say it says we have 211 of 3 cheers for Kate McGear.
Oh, yeah.
Are those 211 ordered directly from Chronicle, or total, like that title's ordered anywhere through wholesalers anywhere? That
would be catalog specific. So anybody who has ordered through this catalog, for that one, let me see if I can get back to that. Okay, so yeah, what this means is that definitely within this catalog, there have been, let's see. I'm trying to see that is you know what? Let me make sure. Some of them, our analytics information is still getting filtered in here. So I'm going to ask John Rubin that question and make sure that I'm answering you correctly. So where does that number come from?
That would be great. We use an omnibus and we use this frontlist catalog, and it's kind of, so do we need to combine those two numbers, or is there a place with a full number just for the ISBN? That would be a good question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I will find that out. Yeah, because actually it seems to me, I think that there's something here that I'm missing that I could be telling you about the market information. So let me talk to John about that one and make sure that we get that right.
And then I have one question about downloads. So with all picture books, we have digital F&Gs that are a part of the title information that are not actually digital review copies, but it looks like we can't track any data in terms of who's opening those.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely true. And you guys are not the first ones to notice that. So for a lot of children's titles, you're absolutely right. It's a lot of publishers rely on the F&G. So again, this is sort of descriptive rather than prescriptive. We wouldn't necessarily tell you hey, you need more review copies, you might want to play around with using more review copies and seeing if that does anything, seeing if that affects your numbers at all, like maybe just picking a handful of titles and giving it a try and doing a little bit of experimentation with that. But we do understand children's books are sort of in a different world of their own where because buyers are accustomed to using the F&G, the review copy module doesn't impact those numbers in the same kind of way that it does adult titles.
Hi, my name's Kate. I'm in finance. So I have a question about the analytics, obviously. Do you have an API that we could integrate with to download the analytics directly to our system? Do you know if that's available?
Yeah, it's not available right now, but it is something that people have asked for, and we might be even closer to an API on 360.
Okay.
But again, that's something that I can talk to John about.
Okay.
And yeah, we haven't done it yet, but it's been a request.
Okay. Yeah, we're working on integrating with some of our other POS data, so that would be good timing for that. And I don't know how to do that, so I'd have to get you in touch with our IT people. So,
yeah,
but it's exciting to have that data available. Yeah.
Great.
Rachel has a question.
One question: when we're looking at literati or any of the account-specific drop-downs, is there a drop-down that I can pick that gives me data across all of the 480 reporting stores? I know I can see it when I click into a title and see. I can't see it right now. But like there's a cross-store thing, but is there a drop-down for that too?
No. So the way that this works is you either can see. You're absolutely right. You can either see it from one title, all stores, or all stores, one title. You unfortunately can't get both at the same time. So if we take a book,
like I can't look at like the full calendar or catalog and just sort of sort by. I'm trying to think of what I'm asking here. Sales.
Like a big picture. Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah. I mean, I can see it when I go into, so you're saying like it's really going to be, I have to go into a title and I can just look at sales across that title.
That's that is true. And
advancing.
It's basically just the people who have done and the product manager for analytics, kind of had to make some decisions. Like it's just way too much information to take all titles, all stores. So it's either going to be like one title, all stores, or one store, all of your titles. But to kind of combine that, that wasn't a direction that we decided to go in, which is not to say we would never do it, but it doesn't exist right now.
Okay, thank you. Great. So a lot of us have to jump to another meeting now. So is there any other? The only question I would have is if people have specific kind of use case questions that we want to drill down into. I'm thinking like marketing might want to have like a deeper dive onto like their topic. Are you the person to organize that with? I had actually emailed her already a couple of weeks ago about doing that, so we can all look at that. Well, so yeah, client services, sales management. Can we do like special breakout sessions, Darcy?
Yeah. Wait, are you talking to me?
Yeah, now I am. We're talking to the group. It's all very confusing.
Yeah, no, you know what? Any kind of training or anything that you want to do, get in touch with me. And if I'm not the right person to do it, I'll organize it and we'll get the right people involved.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I think you guys just cut out there. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I'm back. They're great. Well, I'll send a follow-up email. I'll get the video from you when it's ready. I understand there might be a little delay, and I appreciate everything.
Excellent. It's great to work with you all.
Same here.
All right.
All right, take care.
All right. Thank you. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.